Welcome back, Ronin Renegades. I'm Lupine Fiasco, this is Daily Fi Gameplay, and today we'll be talking about the classic constructed landscape Post-Lexi and what it means for Fi. If you are new, welcome to the Resistance. In a bit, I'll be talking about my deck lists and how they've changed. If you'd like to check these lists out on Fabory or try them for yourself on Talishar, you can find the deck links in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. It is the best free way to support me, and make sure you see daily Fi gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. Today is Thursday, November 9th, which means that we are 3 days out from the death of Lexi Livewire in the classic constructed format. Since roughly a week after the release of Outsiders in March, Lexi has been the uncontested king of the hill in CC. She practically went from 0 to 1,000 points over the course of those 8 months, competing with the likes of Starvo for fastest time to LL. The meta evolved with Lexi at the top, followed by her natural counters tier beneath her, with those trailed by everyone else. But with Lexi gone, it isn't so easy to fill the vacuum of her departure. There is speculation that Dromai will rise to the top as an already powerful deck and further propelled by Tome of Imperial Flame. Uzuri players have shown recently that they have the tech to snatch victory from the Dragon Jaws of defeat, and I don't think we can count her out. I do believe we'll see the reappearance of Ninja in large numbers, back to prey on dragons for free mask momentum triggers. I also believe we'll see a fair amount of Icelander in the mix, hoping to disrupt Dromai as she moves further towards a red line build. And finally, with the re-entry of Bullseye Bracers into Classic Constructed, Ranger will have a strong role to play by keeping Ninja and other aggro decks in check. Overall, I'm predicting that the post-Lexi landscape will be a diverse field where Fi can thrive if we can strengthen our matchups into our natural counters of Guardian and Ranger, while keeping our Mechanologist and Wizard matchups strong. To do this, I've made some changes to my Switchblade and Searing Emberblade lists that I'm excited to share with you. Worlds next week will give us a better picture of the meta overall, and we can further tweak from there. But here's how I'm approaching what I consider to be a very diverse field. Starting with my Switchblade list, the biggest change is that I'm cutting Breaking Point from the list entirely. Without Lexi, dedicated arsenal disruption is much less important. And we do still want some, which is why we're moving Command and Conquer from the sideboard into the main 60. Compared to Breaking Point, CNC provides more utility than just arsenal disruption, and we'll find it useful in this new meta. It's a popper against Dromai's most dangerous attacks. After blocking Starstruck with a 3-block and Flamescale Furnace, it's an effective way to pressure Bravo off of chaining disruption together. And of course, CNC is always effective against Rangers. With all that said, why are we cutting our third copy? Cutting down to 2 copies reduces our chances of drawing multiples in a single hand, and removing it from the sideboard lets us shore up worse matchups than Illusionist is. Speaking of, let's talk about our Bravo matchup. We're adding 2 copies of Reinforce the Line and removing Fate Foreseen, bringing us up to 6 defense reactions. Bravos are moving back to an Anothos plan versus Fi, so Fate Foreseen as a late game 1-card answer to Titan's Fist is no longer necessary. Meanwhile, Reinforce the Line is a great response to Terra Sunder, CNC plus Pummel, and Bravo activation even without a card in the arsenal first. We're also removing Energy Potion, which makes our Wizard matchup weaker, but are adding Stab Wound in its place. We can go up to 15 blues when playing against Icelander or Kano, and we also have a better card for matchups where Warmonger's Diplomacy is suboptimal, like Ninja, Bravo, or Dromai. Finally, we're replacing Bittering Thorns with Soaring Strike. You all know how hard I've worked at liking Bittering Thorns. I've tried it in multiple lists and took it to 2 pro quests, but the verdict is in, and Thorns doesn't make the cut. The on-hit is powerful, but the Draconic type line on Soaring Strike is even stronger for what our deck is trying to do. Our Kodachi game plan already sacrifices damage for chain links, and a third Draconic link can be the difference between a second Mask Momentum trigger or not. Moving on to my Emberblade list, we can see a similar set of changes. Energy Potion, Fate Foreseen, and the third Command and Conquer are being cut for Flusterfist and reinforce the line. I want to take a minute to talk about Flusterfist, which may look strange in a Phi deck without Open the Center, and I've had questions about why I'm running certain attacks in Phi in lists that may not look optimal for it. If we aren't playing Warmonger's Diplomacy or another utility blue, we want our blues to do 3 things: attack for 2, block for 3, and have a ninja type line. Between these 6 cards, Soulbead Strike is the only one that has utility in an Emberblade list. Choosing between the other 5 comes down to your personal preference. Which do you have in foil? Which has art that you like? The choice really is yours. You may ask why I am running Flusterfist over Stab Wound or Winds of Eternity. The answer is I just think it's neat. My public deck lists are already updated and ready for you to use. I will be updating my matchup guides over the next few weeks, especially as I get more experience in this brave new world post-Lexi. I am looking forward to getting feedback from all of you as you try the lists out for yourself. Now I do want to talk briefly about the other announcement that came out of LSS this week. LSS has announced that Living Legend checks will occur at the end of every week, rather than every season, meaning that a hero could become illegal for the Classic Constructed format in the middle of a ProQuest or Road to Nationals season. As an example, during this last ProQuest season, Lexi would have hit Living Legend after the first week and been illegal for play in CC ProQuests during weeks 2 and 3. Now, Phi isn't in danger of hitting Living Legend anytime soon, not that we aren't working to change that. However, in the interest of future-proofing our tournament success, we must acknowledge that exclusively playing one hero is no longer viable. If Phi hit Living Legend after week 1 of a ProQuest, but we weren't able to play until week 2, we'd be in some real trouble. All that said, moving forward, I'll be experimenting with other heroes. Phi will always be my first love and the focus of this channel, but I can't promise that other gameplay won't make its way into your feed. I will be trying a few options, but have to say that I am most excited about learning to play Max. He seems to play mostly the same in every matchup. All his head jabs block for 3, and well, what can I say? I have a thing for angsty young men. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, if you found it helpful, or if you too need to scrape money together for a playset of Nitro Mechanoids, head jab that like button for me. My comments are always open for questions or feedback. I want to know what heroes you are planning to play now that we can't confidently walk into a ProQuest or RTN season armed with just our one deck. And I will see you all back here next week for more daily Phi gameplay. Until then, take care.